Hey guys, Dan Heilman back with another video. Last night we had a little bit of a shakeout. It looked something like this.
Good afternoon.
One of the biggest shakeouts we'd had in a while, so I just wanted to tell that I thought that was pretty amusing. Shout out to Jay Trader for posting that today. But I also wanted to show you one other thing, kind of just an explanation of what happened last night. So a lot of people were saying, oh, it's because of this right here.
Bitcoin.
So, you know, we're not allowed to own Bitcoin. The Federal Reserve Act says what we can own, and we're not looking for a law change. That's the kind of thing for Congress to consider, but we are not looking for a law change at the Fed.
And everyone's aware of that. The Fed is not allowed to. It was kind of a bad question, really, and kind of a bad answer, to be totally honest. And there's some people down here saying, you know, yeah, okay, the U.S. Congress has to pass a law. And we have seen, you know, bills proposed as well about changing some rules that would allow them to hold it. And a lot of people said, yes, they don't own gold either. That's the U.S. Treasury. The U.S. Treasury would own the Bitcoin, right? So now I did find someone who posted a pretty good summary of what they think happened, and I think it's pretty good. I want to touch on a few points in here. Going into the Fed decision, there's a 90% chance of the Fed cutting interest rates by 25 basis points, right? We all knew that was coming, and it did happen. And then today's market reaction had nothing to do with the rate decision, rather about the Fed's outlook for 2025, which shifted sharply in the hawkish direction. As seen below, the Fed revised their 2025 outlook from 3 rate cuts to 2 rate cuts and a total of another 0.5%. Okay, and they also had inflation data, and it's expected from 2.1 to 2.5 at the end of 2025. Furthermore, the Fed now sees inflation at 2.1 at the end of 2026, still slightly above their 2% target. Inflation is clearly back on the rise. 3-month core CPI is now back up to an alarming 4%. The stock market's decline accelerated after Powell said one specific sentence in the press conference today. Today was a closer call, but we decided it was the right call. The US dollar surged against its highest since November 2022 after he said that. So I think that's one of the big things, is kind of he just shifted his outlook on what's going to happen. This led to what appears to have been the biggest panic sell in the market since the yen carry trade collapse. Small cap stocks fell nearly 5%, and the Dow posted a 10-day losing streak for the first time since 1974. Wow. Pretty interesting, you know, a huge loss from a lot of stocks as well. Now this gentleman is talking mostly about stocks, but this affected the crypto market, of course, as well. So you can see, let's talk about the charts. Let's talk about what happened here. And yeah, so we actually kind of had a perfect retest. Let me go to the 4-hour. Kind of had a perfect retest of this same support line that we have been following for quite some time. And it was only what was it, about a 9%? Yeah, not even a 9% correction. So we saw a lot of support come in and buy it back up. A lot of the alts again got hit pretty hard. Coin got hit pretty hard and saw a nice 20% sell off. So a lot of altcoins got hit pretty hard. Coin had a nice little return back up, 14% there. But yeah, it was pretty painful for a lot of alts. Some of them even came out of their channels, retested old support. So even Ethereum, unfortunately, was about to break out. Now we came back, but you do see these nice candles with a very long wick to the downside, meaning there is buying pressure whenever we see these dips. You can see one here. Big buying pressure and push the price up. I think there's going to be no difference here. We'll see what happens when the market opens today, but overall, I think it was an absolute normal correction, and it still does not change any of my targets. So if we talk about targets, we'll talk about Bitcoin specifically, and then we'll get into altcoins. So Bitcoin specifically, let me go to this view here. So it doesn't really change anything that I have predicted for tops, bottoms, dates, etc. So still my base case, meaning what I think is you know, I don't want to say the most likely to happen, but just my standard response is what has happened historically with the cycles. I am a 4-year cycle believer. I know some people are not. Some people say, you know, this time is different, etc. But if you can see this right here, this is where we're at. I am thinking we see another at least 100% gain up to about the $200,000. And if it plays out like history, it should happen sometime end of September, maybe early October, if it is a standard 4-year cycle. You can see I have these date bars up here, and they've been very similar. This one shows it a little bit better here. So you can see it's a very similar timing. So, you know, the first cycle was not the first cycle, it's actually like the second or third cycle, but 526 days and then 549 days. You can see all of these timings between these different intervals. Red is halving, blue is highs, and green is lows. You can see these intervals are very similar, very, very similar, right? Let me go to the weekly here. It's just a little bit more pretty. There we go. Okay. So you can see kind of the same thing, and I'm expecting a bear market of about a year, 380 days. That's what we normally see from the top to the bottom. So then I think this is just a good view of what that looks like here. You can see, so I'm expecting us to come up here. It's not going to be straight only. I'm sure there'll be some corrections. If you look at other markets, we see some nice, what is it, about 30% corrections? Yeah. So I think a 30% correction would be healthy. We have not seen a 30% correction yet. Maybe we did see one. No, I think we only saw about a 16. Yeah. So we haven't seen any big 30% corrections yet. I think we may see some. So get prepared for that mentally if you're not already. But I expect us to come up here, maybe hit about 200 and then come down. I don't think this target will stand. I don't think this 48K will stand. I think that historically, after an election, the price never goes below that election price, which was about 68,000. So I think that might be the bottom here. So I think I'm just going to move this up a little bit to about right there, 68,000. I think our bottom's going to be somewhere in there. We'll see. Or, you know, obviously no one can predict the future, but I'm thinking that also a lot of just money in these ETFs and big institutions starting to stack Bitcoin, that I just think the buying pressure will be too strong for it to go back down to under 50K. So that's my personal opinion. I have no idea what's going to happen, of course. This is just my speculation based on history. And history doesn't always repeat itself perfectly, but it usually does rhyme. So we'll see what happens there. Bitcoin dominance, we are seeing a retest of this purple channel I've had on here for a while. That's what happened. So we came all the way out. We came back up. We have tested the yellow channel and the purple channel. I don't know if we're going to bounce. I don't know if we're going to come back in here. We might bounce. I'm expecting this to come down eventually. If I look at the others, so this is all of the top market caps excluding the top 10. On Christmas, we basically started a rally that ended up in about a 1,000% rally. So this was a massive altcoin season, and it lasted from December 25th, basically Christmas Day, to end of April. Yeah, end of April. So pretty long, actually, about 4 months, 4.5 months there. So a nice altcoin season. You can see really no corrections. We had this correction here, but also Bitcoin had a similar correction in 2021. This one was kind of a double top. We did push out an extra couple percent out of it, whatever that is, an extra 15%. Nothing, you know, the risk in waiting for this to happen. If you see something like this, you could have got out of the market here and been totally fine. But yeah, so that's what we got going on. This is what I'm expecting to happen again, is around Christmas time. Maybe we'll see something similar. And you see, we kind of did retest this top here. I can probably move this up a little bit. Makes more sense if I unlock this and move this up here. But yeah, so you can see we kind of retested that same top and got a little bit of a rejection. I don't think that, you know, now we're kind of retesting the top of this previous top here. So we'll see what happens. I think we'll get a great altcoin season like we've gotten historically. Now, just some things to remember is altcoin seasons do not last forever. As I just showed here, you know, 4 or 5 months is on the long side for altcoin seasons. We might only see 2-3 months. We might see 6 months, you know, so it just kind of depends on how many people get into the market and what they're buying, right? So if a lot of people are sticking with Bitcoin, then We haven't seen that so far, and I think that will continue not to happen. I think people are really excited about altcoins. Most of my views come from altcoin videos, a lot more than my Bitcoin videos, but Bitcoin is important to look at because it kind of controls the rest of the market. So that's pretty much all I had to say today. I just want to go through what happened today, or yesterday, I should say, and why I'm not worried at all. Dips like that are for buying. Now, I think there'll be a point where dips will not be for buying. If we get anywhere near this time frame, I think the earliest top we could have is probably like an April top. If the market just gets way too overheated and we just basically continue straight out of this line, maybe we top at 200K in April, and then we have maybe we have a much longer bear market that comes something like this. I don't know. It's not exact. It'll happen to be based on human psychology and a bunch of other things, but yeah, we'll see what happens here. And yeah, I think it's, the bull market is going to continue. I do have some leverage trades open. I opened some dot trades when it went down because dot got hit pretty hard, but hasn't come back yet. ADA down a little bit as well. XRP not back as well. My Bitcoin trade's still doing great. If you do want a leverage trade, feel free to join Bitunix. I have a link below, and BTCC. I've been trading on both of those. I really like them. They're great exchanges, and they're both legal in America for leverage trading, and you can buy a bunch of spot. And if you use my link, you get a nice discount on fees and some bonuses when you put money into the exchanges. So that's going to be it for the video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, hit the like, hit the subscribe button. Have a great day, everyone. See you guys.